Good evening, learners. Welcome to the third session. In the before class, we have already discussed about the Module 1 and Module 2. Module 2, Unit 1. And today we will discuss about the Unit 2, that is Theory, Practice, Media of Counseling. The objectives are very important in the class. So, after completion of this Unit 2, you are able to describe the non-directive Rogerian counseling and why it is suitable for the distance education. And the second objective, you are able to list and describe the qualities of a counselor, and also you are able to give example of their uses. And also list and describe the skills of counselor and give example of their use, and describe the media used in the counseling in distance education. Give examples and how they may be used and recognize the limitation of each. So in the before class, we are already discussed about what is the counseling, and now we have to discuss the theories of counseling. Counseling is counseling in its general sense, in the layman's view. It can be seen as a branch of psychotherapy, bearing the same relationship and psychotherapy as a local doctor might give to the patient in the hospital. So there are various humanistic psychotherapies. In psychology, we there is Gestalt psychology. We discussing the Gestalt psychotherapy, and also in the transactional analysis psychotherapy, and psychodrama, bioenergetics, and so on. So in the 1902 and 1987, between the 1902 and 1987, Carl Rogers described a theory that is called as Rogerian's theory. It is the underlying the theory of Rogerian's therapy is essentially a simple and non-directive theory. So here, the clients are helped to talk about and clarify their problems for themselves, and also taking charge of their own therapy. In this therapy, Rogerian's therapy, the patient or the client talk to themselves and question themselves in front of the doctor or in front of the psychotherapist, and clarify their problems for themselves, and also taking the charge of their own therapy. So, Rogers' psychotherapy is a very good therapy, and Rogers has reinvented the concept of meditation. You know that meditation is the powerful weapon to manage your emotion and manage your thought. So, here Roger reinvented the concept of meditation and prayer, where a troubled person, the victim, or the troubled person, communicate with God and themselves try and move towards the finding of the solutions of their problems or of their troubles. So, Roger's contribution is to suggest that a second person with particular qualities and skills can help the process. So now we can say Rogers theory is a very good therapy, good theory for manage the emotions, and it is very good psychotherapy that can be easily available and that can be easily used um, by that person. So now we have to discuss the quality of the counselor. What are the minimum or what are the Basic qualities of the counselor. The first one, there are four. Regarding Rogers, there is four particular personal quality of a counselor. The first one is warmth. The ability to, it means the ability to communicate the person to make the learner feel welcome and valued as individual. If the student or the learner uh, cannot feel that the counselor is interested about the learner, in the classroom. So the counselor has have the best um, having the best quality or inculcate the quality of warmth that makes the learner feel welcome and valued as an individual. So warmth means saying hello and can I help you. Whenever you go to the medical, or whenever you go to the bank, there is a window, and the window is written as may I help you. So here, if the learner get the help from the counselor, the learner may be interested in to attend the classes, or interested about the class. So here once means the hello. Sometimes the counselor say hello, how are you, and can I help you. These are the words uttered by the counselor. And also, I am sorry, I am rather busy. Please keep it short. These are the negative statements. If the counselor use these statements, the learners may be withdraw from the classroom. So the counselor have a cordial behavior, or a behave a friendly manner with the learner. So people are sometimes not well for various reasons, that is tiredness or overwork, consciousness of status, and maybe unfavorable attitude. That apart without an initial welcoming start, or a counselor is unlikely to have a chance to practice the other qualities and skills. The first characteristics of a counselor is warmth, and the second characteristics or minimum attitude of the counselor is acceptance. Acceptance is a very positive um attitude that attract the learner in the counseling session. So, if we accept someone, then every qualities of the person become um, very good for ourselves, or the person is very happy with that. So acceptance is a positive attitude developed by the counselor. The quality of being able to accept other people and their feelings, or what without criticizing or judging anyone, or judging any person. So, which of course is different from judging their behavior also. So, criticism, whether in the form of moral injunction or negative statement, has a little role to play in counseling. The positive sentence or positive remark plays a great role in the counseling. So, as it tends to shut down communication, we know that in distance education system there is a small time there. Uh, the learners gives very little time towards the counseling classes. So here, acceptance is a very important part of the counselor to attract the learners, or to clarify all the doubts of the learners. Now, the third characteristics should be developed within the counselor is genuineness. Before going to the genuineness, we know that people are sometimes not accepting because of authority and attitude of the counselor. So, prejudice of various kinds of about class, race, or age, and sex, and because of fixed often wrong idea about their roles. So, authoritarian attitude is very negative attitude towards the learner. So, it must be avoided by the counselor. So, genuineness. Third character should be developed within the counselor is genuineness. So, in every aspect of our life, we have to genuine. The genuineness is accepted by all, and it works in the society. The society all the work are analyzed by others. So genuineness is a very important part. Uh, so the ability to be natural yourself. Genuineness means the ability to be naturally yourself, open or friendly or undefensive. So the counselor must be honest about all his attitude and honest with himself, and the learner should inculcate that attitude from the counselor, and feel free with discuss every types of doubts with the counselor, and um, um, if the genuineness if the learner see the genuineness inside the counselor, so the learner about freely discuss their feelings and activities with the counselor. So to be honest, I have found part of my job is boring sometimes. So do you think you will be able to carry on through to a more interesting part? This type of question are discussed with the learner, must be discussed with the learner. That's why the learner, therefore the learner become very free with the counselor. Another attitude must be developed, that is empathy. Before there is a word sympathy. Sympathy and empathy, there is a little difference between them. The ability to sense the feeling and experience of another person, and so to fully appreciate them as if you are the person. So this is not quite like sympathy. In sympathy, you take over the feelings for yourself. It is mm, you can say that I think I can see you feel that, not felt exactly the same when it happened to me. So empathy is something different from sympathy, and actually it is experienced by the counselor, and the learner must feel that the counselor actually uh, feel the feelings of the learner, which is the most empathetic response to the following statement the counselor may use in the classroom. That is, oh, you must feel that. I mean, it's not a difficult exam. Another statement the counselor can use in the class, that is, you feel that if you fail this exam, all your work will have been wasted. This statement should not be used. So, empathy can be difficult quality to acquire, but we can acquire something. Sometimes it is difficult. Sometimes because of the difficulty of understanding that every person's experience is unique, and every person is also unique. That is called individual difference, and that our own experience can only be a valuable guide to how others people might feel about and similar experience. So, but it is important to try to feel empathy in all circumstances. It is difficult, but it can be achieved by the counselor. These are the quality of a counselor. How can a person develop them? If that question is considered objectively as a teaching experience, sounds uh, frankly absurd. Can you really? So most people who are attracted to distance education already possess these qualities to a high degree. because they are day by day they are experienced, and day by day they improve their capacity towards the towards developing the characteristics. So most of the people and in the distance education system already possess these qualities to a high degree and are already well on the way of being effective counselor. Now we will discuss about the skills of a counselor. We already discussed the qualities of what are the qualities of a counselor. Now we discuss about the skills of a counselor. What skills should be achieved by the counselor? The first, there are three essential skills of a counselor. That is selecting, structuring, and listening. These skills must be. Sometimes we use the he is a skilled counselor or competent counselor. So become a competent counselor. What are those qualities? What are the characteristics? There are three essential skills. That is, one is selecting, and another one is structuring, and another one is listening. So selecting means it is the process of deciding what kind of response from the informing, advising, counseling spectrum is appropriate at any particular stage in an interview? For active intelligent listening, that is of whether whether informatory, advisory, or the skill of active intelligent listening is central to counseling. That may be any type, whether informatory or advisory. And according to the Roger discovered that simply listening to the client was an important way of being helpful. So when Roger said that when he was in doubt as to what I should do in some active way, I listened. Whenever the counselor in feel doubtful, he simply listen the patient or listen the learner. So it seemed surprising to the Roger that such a passive kind of interaction would be so useful. If a listener can be a we know that a good listener he can be a good counselor, because when you listen somebody we really know what are the attitude and what is the problem of the learner, and according to that we organize our counseling sessions. So we have to first listen the learner or listen the patient carefully, and all the words or all the problems sorted by the learner become analyzed, and then we can use the or handle the counseling session. So listening is the first listening is the process towards a better counseling session or become a counselor, good counselor. The counselor listens actively by encouraging learners. The counselor must listen actively to the learners and engaging learners to think though their query or problems for themselves. The counselor listens intelligently by clarifying what is being said and looking for what is not being said. Sometimes the learners say something and sometimes they cannot say something. So here the counselor listen carefully and analyze all the words uttered by the learner, and then um, give feedback to the learner. The implication that the listening is a good process for a counseling class. There are some useful but simple technique to help the learner listen in a better way. They are open-ended questions. When we know that in the interview sessions we can use some semi-structured questions or open-ended question. If we use open-ended questions, it can be a qualitative session. Uh, but if we ask some yes or no question or true false question, that is a low quality type of question answer session, and a so a semi-structured interview in the interview, we must have some open-ended question to know all the problems or troubles of the learner. So, what are the open-ended questions? Open-ended questions use questions that encourage a learner to think and to develop rather than giving straight answer. So, here are some example in your module. That is, so you think you want to be a math teacher? So, what are the basic characteristics of a math teacher? The learner may be answered in a two or three sentences. The question may be answered within 4 to 5 sentences. So, individual to individual, it may be differ, and it may be clarified or described by a different way. So, open-ended question is the way to know all about the learner's problem. Then another example of a open-ended question is, how do you feel about math teaching as a career? So here the learner think in a different way and think critically about the question and critically give the answer. About by the open-ended question, you can encourage the learner to think more about the question and give a very descriptive answer. So, acknowledgement. This simply means that counselors do not sit listening in inscrutable silence. They are always indicating that they are listening or nodding their head and using positive body language. So, maintaining reasonably eye contact, sitting alertly on the same side of the desk as the learner face to face, it also means to interrupting the learner unnecessary. Whenever we ask a open-ended question, and we should become very usual to the learner. That's why the learner um, can concentrate about the question and give a uh, descriptive answer. If we constantly um, give attention to the learner's attitude, their behavior, it may be hamper. The learner's the interaction of the learner's answer session, question answer session will be hampered. So, our body language should be very positive and in a friendly manner. Then reflecting. The most useful listening skill is reflecting, sometimes called mirroring. Whenever we maintain our daily diary, we reflect the daily activities or the activity we already done throughout the day. We note down this activity and some reflection about all those activities. So here, after listening the learner, the counselor must reflect uh, reflect about the learner's answer and help them. So the most useful listening skill is reflecting. Sometimes it is called as mirroring. It simply means saying back to the learner something that they have just said, but in such a way as to clarify it, reassure the learner, and they are being mm, they are being heard correctly and encourage them to go on. Here in your module, there is an example. The learner says that, so you see, I just don't think I can keep up. And the counselor, oh, well, I am sure it's not really that bad with a bit of effort. And the counselor too said that you are worried that you will fall so far behind that you will have to withdraw. The counselor one is certainly trying to encourage the learner. Here, in the first example, the counselors try to encourage the learner but fails to accept the learner's real fears. So these two sentences are contradict each other. The learner is like to feel that the problem expressed simply has not been heard or has been denied. But in case of the second example, the counselor too, on the other hand, has reassured the learner that the problem has been heard and also gives the learner the opportunity to clarify what is worrying him. So, in the second example, it is a better counseling session. So, here now we can note the reflection that reflection does not simply consist of repeating the learner's words, but rephrasing them and clarifying them before reflecting them back. Before giving some suggestion to the learner, uh, it should not just repeat the learner's answer, but it is some rephrase the learner's answer, rephrasing them and clarifying them. Silence. Another attribute of listening is silence. This is at once a simply and most difficult skill. It means not feeling compelled to fill every gap in the conversation, but uh, being able to give the learner space to think. Though what they are trying to say, it means being able to distinguish between the negative silence or someone who is stuck and positive silence of someone who is just trying to work out how to phrase his next statement. For example, in a model, there is an example. The learner says that I am not sure what kind of course I want. The counselor said, Learner again said, I suppose I really want to feel I am helping others. So this example is taken from the real experience, and although it sounds almost trivial, but it was the start of useful session and choice of course. Then another attribute or skill must be developed within the counselor, that is structuring. Um, Structuring is the heart of the counseling. So it is knowing, for example, is the right moment to stop counseling. When the counselor know what is the right moment to start counseling, what is the right time to stop counseling, and give advice. When a learner has solved a problem for himself or herself, or at least come to term with it, when you have done as much as you can. So in structuring, there are three stages. First stage is clarification, second is checking, and third is consequences. So in the clarification, the basic counseling process goes on. basic counseling process means the issue or the problem by dialogue with the learner. What is the real problem and what problems faced by the learners in the clarification stage? It is clarified, and after clarification, it must be checked by the counselor, going back to the learner to ensure that the problem or issue is now completely clear, or at least that it is unclear as it is possible to be this stage. So clarification accelerate the process or stage of checking, and after checking the consequences, setting with the learner, after checking process, the problems must be settled, and settling with the learner, what will be done by them and by the counselor. What will be done after listening the problem or after clarifying the problem? The counselor give assure or give suggestions. What will be done, and by them and by the counselor as a result of the interview. So here in our model, there is an example. The learner said that I am interested in a career in nursing, and the counselor said that is that mental nursing, district nursing, or hospital nursing. So here the counselor clarify what the learners want to know about the nursing and want to do which type of nursing. So here the counselor clarify the learner's doubt or clarify the learner's question. Then the learner said that, oh, I meant in hospital. So the counselor then says hospital nursing, right? I have a leaflet about that. I could send it to you if you would like. So here the counselor check there is some leaflet or any type of information that must be shared with the counselor. Then the learner, oh yes, please. And the counselor said that, fine, I will put that in the post to you today. And then if you have any question after reading it, you will be in contact with me. So first of all, the counselor clarify the question about the question asked by the learner. Then um, some technique or some leaflet provided to the learner, and the learner must maybe the learner here in the stage the learner is motivated and get connected with the counselor, and the counselor give questions. Sorry, the counselor give the details idea of the hospital nursing to the learner, and give assurance to the learner to keep contact with him. So the clarification and checking and give solution is the process of structuring. So structuring is the we can say structuring is the heart of the counseling, and it is important step of the counseling, and this is a very good skill of the counselor, by which the first the clarification, then check, then solution, and number of times it can be, it is a process, or a number of times it can be repeated. Then another skill must be developed by the counselor, that is epilogue. In this epilogue, we can shortly called as wedge. Wedge means warmth, acceptance, genuineness, and empathy. We have already discussed about the ways warmth, acceptance, genuineness, and empathy, and here we discuss the selecting, listening, and structuring. And the selecting includes informing, advising, and counseling. Listening includes open-ended questions, acknowledgement, and reflection. And structuring means three steps. Structuring has three steps or three stages, that is clarification, checking, and consequences. So, much of your counseling will be very straightforward, needing more information than skill. Indeed, it is probably true that 80% of your counseling will only need 20% of your skill. 80% of counseling and 20% of your skill. But there will certainly be 20% of the counseling needing 80% of your skill. It is often very difficult to tell at the outset what sort of query you will get. So, emphasis must be given to the skill, uh, because the skilled counselor can motivate the learner, and if the learner is motivated, the learner can complete the course with a successful grade or with um, easily. Learners can complete the course easily. Then we have to discuss the media of the counseling. The counseling is a two-way process. We know that the counseling is a two-way process between among the learner and sorry between the learner and the counselor, and it is directed by the individual and also initiated by either the counselor or either by the learner. So it is a two-way process. In face-to-face counseling, the communication is a two-way process, and also um, it also it can be initiated by the counselor. Sometimes it may be initiated by the learner also. So it is suitable for informing, advising, and counseling. First of all, some information is provided to the learner, and the counselor also sometimes provided the information, and informing and advising and counseling, all the processes followed in the face-to-face media. Then group face-to-face phone. So here this is also a two-way process, but here it is less threatening, and also informing, advising, and counseling process is uh, going on or complete in this process. Then writing letters and handbook. It is a limited communication process, and here there is no interaction. Here there is it cannot initiated by the counselor or a learner. And here the three processes are going on: informing, advising, and counseling. In the model, you can clearly identify different types of counseling process and their media. What is the media of the counseling, and in the counseling process, who are involved? So I already discussed with the face-to-face counseling and group face-to-face counseling, and phone counseling, and also now I am discussing writing. In the writing, the advising writing, two steps are followed, that are informing and advising, and the counseling process is not followed in the media. So after that, audio or video cassette. Audio video cassette. In audio video cassette, this is the one-way process. It is not a two-way process. Either the learner listen the audio or video and get the solution of all queries. It is also informing and advising. The process followed in this first broadcast means radio or TV. It is also a one-way process, and here the two stages are informing and advising. Then computer and interactive video disc. It is a two-way process. We can interact with each other, and it is a two-way process, and it is a interactive communication, and initiated by a counselor. This is the process where the counselor start the session, and after the counselor session, there is the interactive session. So all the it is informing. The stage of the process followed in this internet online discussion is very informing. Then email and World Wide Web. This is also a informing. This media also follow the all informing session. In computer conferencing, this is also informing and advising. There are another some examples in your model. You can follow this. Then face-to-face counseling. Then we have to discuss the face-to-face counseling. What is going on in the face-to-face counseling? In conventional system, always there is a face-to-face counseling, but in the distance situation, there is a limitation in face-to-face counseling due to distance factor, due to some financial factor. There is major barrier to follow the face-to-face counseling. However, it can be extremely expensive in terms of staff also, time also, and also in travel, and could also be accessible to distance learners. Whenever the learners live in a distance place, he cannot easily come to the study center and avail the counseling session. So, um, one way of at least reducing the first problem is through group counseling. Discuss about group counseling. Group counseling is commonly a number of learners connected, and it is perfectly possible for it to go up to maybe 30 or 40. We have seen counseling attempted in groups. So it may be 200 people, but this is really been becomes another activity. So um, the opportunity for learners to share their concern with each other. The group counseling is a very good counseling session where the learners can share their ideas and share their queries and get information from each other. For example, let us assume that you are a counselor who has gathered together a group of dozen or so learners about to start their distance education course at a local center. How do you help them talk about the issue, concern, anxiety, and hope that will certainly be present in the group? Here is a possibility. In your module, there is an example. You introduce yourself within 2 to 3 minutes, and you say, "Now I want you to get together with any other learner in pairs. Introduce yourself and say briefly why you are taking the course and how you feel about it. It maybe take 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, you say, now I want each pair to get together with another pair and share your introduction. and see what motives and feelings you all have in common. It can take 10 minutes. So in group counseling there is technique followed. There is a technique followed, that is cooperative learning and collaborative learning. Collaboratively, we'll learn from each other by pairing or by two or three people group. So here, first the counselor follow the process in 5 minutes. Then the collaborative process complete in 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes, you say now the counselor can say, now let's all come together and share our introduction and what we have been discussing. After that, at this point, the learner will have discussed their feelings in pairs and in groups of four. Then they will have discovered that many of their concerns are mutual and will now have no difficulty in talking about their feelings in the larger group. So, here, after step by step, the learners can about to know that there are some common or mutual feelings. Mm. And besides that, we'll be able to listen, clarify, reflect, and decide upon general consequent action with the whole group. So, this particular group process of discussion in pair or three in number or four in number and so on is it is a step by step process of group counseling. Then we will discuss about telephone counseling. Telephone counseling may be one to one, or it may be more than one. That called teleconferencing. So in one to one discussion, um, there is a very obvious difference that the absence of visual clue. We cannot see each other, but we can talk to each other. There is no visual clue. This is not an entire disadvantage, but such clue can mislead as well as help. Sometimes visual clues are also important. So in one to one, there is no such opportunity for visual clues. Then teleconferencing. Teleconferencing uh, is a technical session. The maximum number of people can join here. Nowadays, it is envisages in different sectors like bank, hospital, like education. Nowadays in educational sector, there the meeting and the state level meeting, district level meeting, and international conference, national conference are going on teleconferencing. So the group counseling session over the telephone. In this teleconferencing, the learners could dial a given number between certain hours and be automatically connected to the other people who had also dialed the same number. The hope was that learners would use this facility to engage the counseling. So, actually, the project was let down by technical difficulties, including the quality of the telephone lines. So sometimes it is difficult to maintain the group counseling. An answer by the phone. Telephone answering machine, which gives an automated generated machine. Nowadays in Airtel, in BSNL, all the type of network, we have automated generated machine, and we dial the number, we can get the answer. So here, the telephone answering machine, which give an automated recorded message when dialed, are now in relatively common use in many parts of the world. Since most of the offices have more than one telephone line, It is relatively simply to use one of those lines out of office hours to provide an appropriate counseling message. It is mostly used in open learning also. Answer by the telephone, maximum time it is used in open learning. And this learner dial the number and the automatically generated message listened by their phone. In counseling by the letter. So it is letter sent by the learner and the counselor can give the related answers or give the related counseling. It is active intelligent listening is replaced by careful reading. We always say that it is active intelligent listening is replaced by the careful reading to try to clarify the feelings and issue in the learner's letter. So it should then be possible to respond with warmth, acceptance, genuineness, and empathy. Structuring the letter to ensure its meaning is clear. So here the steps are followed. That is warmth. First a greeting, hi, hello, and how are you? Then acceptance, then accept the problem and then give the genuine answer and feel the learner that the learner is valued for you. That is called empathy. Inner module, there is an example you can follow this. Then counseling by handbook. Many institutions have developed counseling materials in handbook form and supplied to the learners by the post or by study center or by regional center. Clearly, such handbooks are an handbooks are a very economical way of providing some kind of counseling to a large number of learners. So, IGNO provide different types of handbook to the learners, and the learners can uh, easily available. The handbooks are available in the study center and regional center. It helps the learners to help the large number of learners to um, solve their queries. And these handbooks are written in an interactive style. They contain text with encourages learner to ask themselves question about the hope. Is there such reflection will enable learner to clarify such issue. Then another form of interactive tests use quotations from existing learners for new learners to react. An example of this approach, how to tutor in the open learning system, defined by Lewis, which consists almost entirely of a series of codes and responses. In open learning tutor, we have occasionally used this approach in these units, as you will have noticed. Then counseling by audio and video cassette. This is a different and unique use of audio tapes. Is it in counseling? For example, you could have an exam counseling tape or relaxation exercise designed to help anxious learner to reduce their level of tension before the exam. In the audio video cassettes, you can there are recorded sessions and recorded before, and the learners can use the audio and video cassettes at any time whenever they become free. At any time they can use or listen this audio video cassette and get for example, it is maybe a relaxation exercise, it is maybe content audio, or video. Then counseling by broadcasting. Broadcasting can uniquely emphasize, enrich, motivate, and excite the learner. It is surprising that one has given attention to it. Whenever you see the cricket match live telecast in the television, you are most enthusiastic. You become most enthusiastic and motivated. So, broadcasting is the unique. Uh, Broadcasting is a unique session that can emphasize and enrich, motivate, and excite the learner, and to attract the attention of the learner. In counseling by computer and interactive video disc. The advent of relatively cheap microcomputers has made them accessible at study center and regional center levels, if not a home in the broadcasting world, in developing world. So it is nowadays very popular among the learners. There are interactive video disc in the study center and available for the learners. The program then analyzes those reference and there are some reference materials and produce a list of career suggestions for the learner together with a note of the preference most relevant to each other. For example, there is teacher in higher education, social worker, priest, or a lawyer. Nevertheless, computer counseling is here to stay and is likely to become more useful in other areas as well. Counseling by internet, you also know about what is the process in counseling by internet. The internet as a counseling medium for distance education program largely adopted by the learners. The lowest level of connection to the internet requires dial-up telephone access, which remain now in problematic in the distance learner in developing countries. The counselor interacts with one or more learners simultaneously at different terminals. The main objective of the counseling by internet is the counselor interact with one or more learners simultaneously in different terminals. So it is it is known in the bulletin broadcast system, chat room or talk room, for example, talk room, which holds one to one or two to many conversation respectively. So email is the another commonly used example of correspondence or asynchronous internet interaction between counselor and distance learners. So computer conferencing connects the counselor and distance learner present at different locations through computer network. Basically, video conferencing is similar to regular face-to-face interaction. And also the learner and the counselor are located at several different locations, thus providing an opportunity for group discussion. And it is very fruitful for counseling and learning and independent of space and time also. The need to is covered now. Um, can you go for the another unit? The unit 3, that is face to face session. As we All know that the distance learning and learning takes place through both individual interaction with the self-learning material and social interaction with the peers and tutors. Face-to-face meeting, therefore, is an occasion for this social interaction. So we covered the individual interaction. Now go for the face-to-face interaction that comes under the face-to-face sessions. The face-to-face sessions also give the learners opportunity to discuss their problems in academic and problems in personal life with their counselor and also with their uh, fellow classmate or peers. What is the need? Now you have a question in your mind. That is, what is the need of if you avail all the internet facility, you avail the broadcasting system, you have now the materials handbooks provided by the your distance education system. So why face to face session is important for a learner? So many distance learner may find it difficult to handle the self-learning materials. Though the distance learners are adults, but they also need sometimes they also need the guidance of the counselor. So to handle the self-learning materials with their various access devices, activities, or assignment. So these would require knowledge of study skills, which can be provided through human support. So regarding any query of their assignment project and they may need a human support. So as you discussed, we discussed in Unit 1 Block 1 and also in Unit 4 Block 1, the distance learner and independent and also lonely. They feel lonely. They cannot get immediate clarification for the doubts that come up during their studies. So, they may not possess the study skills necessary to cope with the requirement of course for a distance teaching institution. If the distance learner happen to live in economically and technologically backward societies, they may not be able to make use of the audio video programs. So, also the educational broadcasts. Since the majority of them will not have access to the media in their homes also. So precisely to meet such needs of the distance learner, study centers are established under the jurisdiction of the regional center and face-to-face contact sessions are arranged at the study center. Therefore, contact cum counseling sessions or CCC give the distance learner the opportunity to discuss their problems face to face with the counselor, face to face with the counselor or the teacher. So now we can conclude that face to face sessions are very useful for the learners. There are two schools of thought whether face to face sessions are necessary or unnecessary. So one school of thinking finds face-to-face session is useful. Another is have a contradict answer. Face-to-face session are not useful or unnecessary. or philosophically, the organization of face-to-face sessions is a dilution of very concept of distance education. Occasional face-to-face sessions are organized by the study center, uh, and the learners come to the study center and avail the face-to-face counseling sessions. These counseling sessions are limited for the learners. Uh, Occasionally, face-to-face sessions are organized for both didactic and socialization purpose, unlike the conventional system proposed by Keegan in 1989. And the positive aspect of face to face session is described by another person, that is Hallmark in 1986. Mm, he says that it is suitable for the learners and practicing psychomotor skills in laboratories and under similar conditions. Also, verbal skills through personal communications. Facilitating the understanding of the communication process and human behavior, and also encouraging attitude and habits of relevance for the study. Then mutual inspiration and stimulation of fellow learners. Then training and cooperation. Also, face to face. In my view, in nowadays, if the learners develop study skills among themselves, because the learners are most of the learners are adult learners, but there is some need of counseling session or face to face counseling sessions. So the learners work in libraries or classrooms and have a teacher available there. The teacher may be a facilitator. There is a resource rather than um, a material resource. So here the instructor and the teacher can answer all the questions of the learner and motivate and the learner and organize group of activity among the learner. So now we can conclude that face-to-face session is useful for distance learner, according to the Hallmark and Keegan. But in the lateral learning, it is basically individual and distance education has considerably potential for its learner. In between the two, there are many programs that strives to combine face-to-face communications either between teachers and either between learners or among the learners or among the teacher and the learner. The face-to-face session can be of various types. It may be between the counselor and between the learner, and it may be within the learners. It may be within the learner and the counselor. So, interactive media-based dialogue with carefully structured organized. The audio video materials also are important, but here are some discussion in the face-to-face session and useful for the learner. In the face-to-face session, what is the human factor? In the foregoing section, we have highlighted, and there are controversies regarding the need for face-to-face session in distance education. It has also been pointed out that whatever the merits of the self-learning material, they remain finite in character. Whatever the materials, maybe sometimes the learners face difficulty to understand the materials and um, face some problems in self-learning materials. They remain they need a human factor, and it is very useful or important to discuss about the problem regarding the materials. The faculty engaged in distance education must be adapt and facilitate the learners learning through particular attention to the process, unlike the classroom-based teachers whose traditional role is largely to provide instructional strategy. But here, the learner um, before the class, the learner cover all the module and write down their queries, and in the counseling sessions, but in because the counseling sessions are limited in number, and one counseling session cover number of modules and number of units, so the learners must have covered the module and coming with their queries uh, in the counseling face-to-face counseling classes. And here the face-to-face counseling classes, all the queries are discussed and among the learners and counselors, and all the queries are solved, or all the problems are solved by the both by both counselor and the learners. So ideally, the instructional role in the counseling classes involves in the counseling classes there are number of instructor or number of counselors. The characteristics of the responsibility of the instructor or counselor to monitor the learner progress toward objective, and to recognizing and discovering a learner's learning difficulties, and also stimulating and challenging learners to further efforts, and evaluating the quality of learners learning and assigning a grade to the learner, and also maintain an effective two-way communication between the institution and the teacher and the learner. Hence, now we conclude that distance education is a highly specialized branch of education requiring a special set of skills that must be acquired by the counselor, and attitude on the part of teachers who take distance teaching and function at any at different levels in the system. It may be in course designing or course developing or course production, maybe tutoring, counseling, or it may be evaluation or assessment. Now we will discuss about organization of face-to-face session. How a face-to-face session is organized in a distance education system. In the Open University, mostly the organized limited face-to-face session throughout the academic sessions, or the first half or the second half of the session. So the counseling classes are organized at the weekend or in the holidays and in the evening hours. So whereas personal contact program are mostly organized by the correspondence course, and the face-to-face, sorry, the counseling sessions are at the end of the weekends, and prepare the learners with the end of the course or examination. We have also included a study on the learner's opinion of the counseling session. We have a session that uh, collect the opinions of the opinion of the learner and the counselor. So there are several personal contact programs. Before um, before organizing the personal contact program, there are several steps. First of all, the organizing of PCP and aims of PCPs. Then suitability of the PCP. In the organizing of PCP, the one PCP may have more than 200 learners, and mostly the uh, study centers did not have sufficient staff to conduct PCP. So the in the PCP session, the staffs and the tutors are borrowed from or another university and another colleges, another local university, local colleges, and hired from different university. Like in the IGNOU University, there are 71.42% PCP sessions are hired experts by the nearest university and colleges. And what is the aim of PCP? All the correspondence institution organize the PCP mainly for the formal teaching and course content of their learners. And suitability of the PCP. The suitability is only depend on the learner and the counselor. The study here in this study, this is a case study of the personal contact program. Here the case study reveals that the study revealed that the venue of the personal contact program uh, are uh, in the evening or in the holidays. So then academic value of PCP. 82.74% of the learners reported that they benefited in their study from the teaching given during the PCP. 82% learners are benefited by the personal contact program, and 17% reported that they did not benefit from the PCP. So we can conclude that PCP is important for the distance learner. And we discussed the case study, and now we discuss some observation regarding the personal contact program. There are traditional habit of learner that being um, taught by a teacher in a classroom situation dominated their thinking, and hence their preference for more compulsory face-to-face session. So PCP should be made optional as they were probably the employed or adult learners. So in distance learner PCP is optional for every learners. Above all, it should not be forgotten that PCP are utilized for imparting instruction. Hence, the learner have no other alternative but to review them positively. So, in every second, learner felt that PCP did not serve the purpose of removing their doubts and clarifying their problems. Therefore, in their suggestions, the learners have expressed their need for individualized tutoring. So, in distance learning, the learners need or emphasize about the individual learning system. The learner had also suggested that PCP should have been conducted at least 3 to 4 times in a year, and PCP throughout the academic year instead of providing it only at one time or at the end of the year at the few places as being done in the case of counseling session organized by Open University. So here the some observation in some observation learner suggest that necessary accommodation for station learner need to be arranged because the study centers are far away from the village of the learner. So it may be the learners suggest that there must be some arrangement for the distance learner or distance place learners or the outstation learners. And in your module, the learner opinion of counseling session is a case study. In a case study, the learner opined that pattern of attendance at counseling sessions and usefulness of counseling sessions, reason for not attending counseling sessions. There are some questions or open-ended questions that are answered by some distance learners in a case study. Here, the pattern of attendance of counseling session. Here, 80%, 62% of the correspondents are attended counseling sessions. So, 60% above learners are attended counseling sessions. Mm, and 39.7% find that it is useful for them for counseling sessions. And they also revealed the reasons for not attending the counseling sessions. That 45.3 had expressed that they could not attend sessions as the study center was too far away. So here the genuine reason that study centers are too far away from their home and they could not, and also there are not residential facility, so they cannot avail the counseling sessions. And 50% of the respondents had mentioned that the questionnaire that they listening to lecture discussion and even took notes wherever necessary. Only listen to the lecture discussion, and 40% are find that they are benefited from their peer group. The study conducted on counseling session in IGNO has brought out the fact that all learners had not attended counseling sessions. In the previous case, the study centers, this point of attendance was not raised, and personal contact program are compulsory component. And since counseling sessions are conducted in study center located in urban area, 50% of rural residents attend counseling sessions. The university therefore needs to set up more centers in rural area to facilitate the learners living in rural areas. Nearly 80% of the respondents found that counseling sessions are useful and gave them to meet and discuss their peer group, which not only motivated them but also increased their interest in their course. So, the active participation over 50% of learners in the counseling session reveals the preparation that they must have made before attending the counseling sessions. Since counseling sessions are not lecture sessions like personal contact program, the learners are expected to have read the self-learning material provided to them before coming to the counseling sessions. So these are some observations um, by the. So these are some observations regarding the counseling classes collected by the open-ended question provided to the learners. So identification and appointment of the right academic counselors is equally important as it has a long-term impact on the system. So, in order to make the counseling sessions more interactive and beneficial to the learner, counselor or tutor should be trained. So, trained counselors must be appointed for the counseling classes. Then we will discuss about the role of support services and staff. It is important to always regard the processes as much more important than the context. So, processes such as questioning, sharing idea, discussing, and solving problems contribute to the learning process. So, if the counselor tutor were merely to provide a long lecture, there is no guarantee that effective learning would occur. But some learners may be quite shy in face to face sessions and they do not ask their queries. In this case, if the whole group is asked a question, the same one or two voices would reply. So, it would be comfortable for the shyest learner if they were forced to give their views. So, here everyone may be given a question to answer on a slip of paper, or a post it. Learners, after writing their answer, may stick or post it on the wall, and of the and all of them can then look at each other's responses. This method of joining in is much kinder to shy learners, and in fact, their contributions are often better than those from one-to-one learners who would have answered all the questions orally. So it is more helpful to highlight the responsibility of staff who will normally be locally based academic counselors. So academic counselors should be very competent and should be very cordial, should have very cordial behavior and friendly behavior with the learner. So to respond on the assignment to the dialogue initiated by the learner in their written work and to access that work, to foster further discussion in face-to-face session on the study center. So these are some responsibility of counselor to increase the motivation, increase the interest of the learner. Then to respond to a learner's query positively and do not confuse the learner. To assist the learner to become independent learner by helping them to develop a sound study skills and appropriate study skills that is appropriate to distance education, and to encourage and support the learner when they reach the encourage and support the learner by which the um, learners get motivated and start their course easily and submit their assignment in timely and appear the examination enthusiastically, and to maintain adequate records, interpret the institution's regulation, and liaison between the learner and the surrounding staffs or the supervisory staffs. And here, this is a different role from that of conventional or face-to-face educator, and it can be highlighted further. That is teaching a course designed and written by other people. Here in the system, teaching a course is different and written by the course material are written by another people, making greater use of multimedia system. In the distance education there is a highest peak the use of multimedia system and much greater concern with study skills that must be developed within the learner in a novel way of study, possibly dealing with older learners who have a wider range of experience and higher motivations. Possible tensions between the roles and roles of counselors and assessors. Provide a clear description of duties and procedures, establish a clear contractual positions, provide well thought out and comprehensive briefing and thinking. Now we discuss the role of tutor and tutor counselor at the another university UK. K and Rumble in 1981 defined that commenting on written work, whatever the comment written, in the assignment or in the project, um, how they are submitted or how they were reported or commented by the counselor. The grading written work submitted, assistant learner to understand course material through discussion, conducting discussion face to face, organizing self help group, providing feedback, answering learner queries by helping learners plan their work. How the counselor answered the learners' queries by helping the learners plan their work, negotiating with the institution on behalf of the learner, and also advising applicant if required and deducting many more. So in page number 64, you have a graphical presentation or a mapping concept map about the communication with the university, how the distance learner and the counselor, how the communication process is going on in the distance education system. There are three parts or three steps or three departments, that is central administration, regional office and part-time staff. So these three are connected to each other to complete the counseling sessions or complete the course material. The three are: one is the part-time staff organized, part-time staff are appointed or hired by regional office, and the central administration control all the activities inside the regional center and the study center. So in the page number 64, you have a concept map. You can follow this map and get a clear cut idea about the responsibility of tutor, counselor, and tutor, and how the organization is functioning about the three area: central administration, regional, and part time staff. Now we'll discuss the role and function of academic counselor at the IGNO. As you already know, most of the learner who freshly enter the open system require general counseling, require a support from the counselor to a large extent, along with a small component of tutoring. So, this combination of general counseling and tutoring is known as academic counseling at the IGNO. The IGNO counseling system consists of general counseling and tutoring sessions, and the person who offers the academic counseling is called the academic counselor. An academic counselor is supported to understand his or her partnership role allied with technology and has to make use of appropriate interventions of non-print media in order to facilitate the teaching learning process. So the role of an academic counselor depends on the program for which he or she allotted. For instance, in the bachelor preparatory program, counselors' responsibility involve dealing with the learners who have to be acquainted with study and mathematical skill. Likewise, the main role of a counselor dealing with the bachelor degree program is to foster confidence in the learner and to advise him or her to improvise on the aspect he or she already is familiar with. In the foundation course stream are those who have had either a formal higher secondary school exposure or should have presumably prior acquaintance with the IGNO learning scheme in the BP program. On the other hand, a counselor for the management program would be facing student participation who have had a good deal with the work experiences. So both the academic and personal needs of the learner have to be taken care of by the counselor. The counselor encourage the learner to keep contact through phone or correspondence, and also have willingness to take the initiative to contact a learner. Every time the counselor must connected with the individual learner, and there must be a nowadays there must be a WhatsApp group, and in this group they are connected with each other. and to guide learner how to make the best use of the library provided by the university at the study center and to develop the study skills. And the counselor also find during the contact program whether the learner has completed a self-assessment test given to him. The counselor gives self-assessment test to the learner in the print media and provide feedback to enable the learner to know in which aspects of learning. And also the counselor familiarize the learner with the general study skills, even listening to their personal problem. Then the counselor must initiate discussion with a view to helping the learner consider all the relevant factors and reach a decision. And also the counselor should be a friend rather than a teacher. I already told that if the counselor become a teacher, the learners can usually or very easily share their problems and it become useful for the counselor to cater the problems, cater the need of the problem. So inherent in this new role in an element of advising which the counselor would perform. The four roles the counselor must be performed in the counseling during the counseling sessions. That is counseling, tutoring, use of multimedia, assessment, and evaluation. And also another very important responsibility entrusted to academic counselor is that of grading a learner assignment responses and writing tutor comments on the assignment responses. So these tutor comments should be positive and constructive because if the comment are positive and constructive, it can be easy for the learner to modify or rectify their mistakes. Thus, therefore, the basic requirement of an effective academic counselor are good knowledge of the course and genuineness and interest upon the learner and the ability to observe accurately and empathize looking and listening carefully the learner and also the thorough knowledge about the university which enable him to help the learner achieve their goals. It, a 2-day orientation program is normally arranged for the newly appointed academic counselor at the regional center, utilizing the services of resource person from concerned schools at headquarters, academic staffs from the regional center. So, what are the roles and responsibility of the counselor? It is known. It must be known by the counselor. That's why the counseling session is become more successful or going smoothly. So, these trained academic counselors have this basic responsibility to perform that is informer and counselor and evaluator. In order to maintain standard, the university monitor the performance of academic counselors through various mechanisms. Uh, monthly that maybe monthly report of study center or visit to the IGNOU center and also monitoring the evaluating assignment by the faculty members. So now we cover your module 1 and module 3 in the next class. Sorry, module 1, module 2. In the next class, we go for the module 3 and today is Sivaratri. Today is the Sivaratri and all the learners are busy for worshipping and celebrating the Sivaratri. So I think I can stop this session here. So thank you, my dear learners, all the learners. Thank you very much, and thank you the regional center for organizing the class. So thank you everyone, and now I can wind. I think I can wind up this session here. And in the next session, we will discuss about your module 3 and unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. So prepare for yourself and ask your queries. So thank you. Thank you. Good night. Enjoy your Shivaratri.